I feel disappointed because we lost. Jan is an extraordinary man, and on top of that, I have to say, he's big, and he's a little touch around the rim, which is unusual because for the guy his size, it's not easy to shoot the basket, and he's doing this very comfortably. That was pretty amazing. My skills on basketball is very weak because my last
Christmas ends tonight.
With Aspen Dental Dentures, all they'll see is your smile. We provide exceptional care all under one roof and make our dentures in on-site labs. Get replacement dentures starting at just $2.99 per arch. We do anything to make you smile. Schedule your
Let's guys, my name is Mason. Today I wanted to take a look at my favorite bonus perk to use so far in Modern Warfare 2, and this is Fast Hands. And also within this video, I just wanted to look at animations in general, because one of the big complaints that I've seen with Modern Warfare 2, and I actually have this complaint at least in some areas, is that the animations are too slow compared to other Call of Duty games out there. So I want to investigate this to see if that's actually the case, and whether or not Fast Hands is going to be helping you in various situations. And first off, let's just have a look at the description for Fast Hands. In game, it says it allows you to reload, use equipment, and swap weapons faster. So of course, we're going to be investigating those, but I also wanted to look at a few other actions in game just to see if there's some unstated areas where Fast Hands is also helping, since stuff like that happens all the time in Call of Duty. But the first thing we'll start off with here is our reload ad time. And with this, I did a spot check on 3 different guns that reload completely differently. First up, we have the AK-74U. I had a look at the reload time there with and without Fast Hands, and you can see it's definitely faster with Fast Hands. Then we had a look at the Glock sub, which reloads quite slow for an SMG, and Fast Hands is noticeably helping here with our reload speed. And then finally, we'll have a look at the Brawl MG. This is the slowest reloading gun, I believe, in the entire game, at least in the LMG category. And again, we can see a very nice improvement here with Fast Hands. Just a quick note, you might see the perks on the bottom of the screen appear in these tests, and you might not see Fast Hands when it should be there. That is just a display bug at this point. I actually have Fast Hands on there, but it displays my old perk that I swapped from. But obviously, Fast Hands is applying there. And just taking a look at the data here, you can see Fast Hands is absolutely helping with reload times, as it should be. And it seems like, on average, we're seeing a roughly 25% improvement to our reload times. It will vary a little bit from gun to gun, but the range is between like 22 and 28%. So just as a general rule of thumb, you reload about 25% faster. So that's already an excellent benefit with Fast Hands, especially since a lot of the guns in the game reload pretty slowly. Now let's move on to throwing equipment. And with these tests, I went from the moment I started throwing the equipment to the moment I was able to start aiming down sight with my gun. Because technically, with a lot of the animations you see throughout this video, you can still hip fire while performing the action, but we really want to see when we're like back in the action fully and we can actually aim down sight with our gun and get accurate shots on target. And as we can see here, I tested the drill charge as well as the Semtex, and with both of these, we are able to use this equipment roughly 30% faster, which is a very nice improvement here as well, and it's definitely noticeable in the game. And as far as the description goes, at least, that just leaves us with weapon swapping, and I decided to do just a couple different tests. I wanted to try swapping from an assault rifle to a pistol, and with this, I swapped from an M4 to a P890, and I was really surprised to see from the moment I started swapping to the moment my gun was able to fire, the gun that I'm swapping to, it was actually very slightly slower with Fast Hands. And that could be due to the fact that I was just swapping to a semi-auto gun. Maybe as I was spamming the trigger, I hit it slightly later or something like that. So honestly, I think what we're actually seeing here is just a negligible change with Fast Hands. It's not noticeably improving it, but it's also not like noticeably harming this. However, that's not the only thing I tested. I also wanted to see what it's like to swap from a sniper rifle to an SMG. But that's something you might overkill in a game. And when it comes to this, we see a very, very noticeable change. We swap significantly faster when we have Fast Hands equipped. Without Fast Hands in this case, it takes over 1.3 seconds, whereas with Fast Hands, it's only about half a second to swap. So it seems like we just get sort of inconsistent results results of this. It seems like if you're swapping from primary to primary especially, you're going to notice the biggest benefits, whereas from primary to medicinal, you're probably not really going to notice a benefit here, although this could change depending on the specific combinations of guns that you're looking at. So those are the main elements that are at least stated on the Fast Hands perk, although there's definitely an argument that many of the field upgrades would also be considered equipment as well, not just lethal and tactical equipment. So I wanted to do some tests with those, and first up I tested a munitions box, and as you can see here, it's very noticeably faster with Fast Hands to throw that, so it's definitely helping you there. Then I wanted to test Dead Silence. I was really hoping this would speed that up since it does feel so slow to call that Dead Silence in many times. Especially when you compare it to the most recent iteration of Dead Silence in a Modern Warfare game where there was no animation at all, you just hit the buttons and it was active. And unfortunately, Fast Hands doesn't help us at all when it comes to using Dead Silence, but I did also test the trophy system, and once again, we did see a very noticeable improvement here with the trophy system. And as a result, it seems like for any piece of equipment that's throwable or placeable, Fast Hands will speed up the animation by about 30%. Unfortunately, this doesn't apply to something like Dead Silence, though, where you're not actually throwing a piece of equipment or placing a piece of equipment in the world, and as far as I'm aware, there is no method at all of speeding that animation up. Now that we've covered all of the main bases when it comes to this, there's just a couple other things I wanted to test just to see if Fast Hands happens to have an impact on it. And the first thing I wanted to test here is mantling. You just want to mantle up onto an object. Does Fast Hands help get you up there any faster? And I tested this with multiple guns, and it turns out in both cases, no, Fast Hands doesn't help you at all in this area. And this just leaves us with one last thing that I wanted to test here, because these animations especially I find to be very annoying. I just feel like they're unnecessarily holding you back. This is the animation of calling in a streak, especially a simple streak like a UAV or a counter UAV, where all you're doing is pulling out that phone, hitting a button, and calling it in. And as you can see in the test here, unfortunately Fast Hands has zero impact on these animations. I didn't really expect it to be the case, but I was at least hoping that there'd be something that you could do to cut these animation times down. Before the Season 1 update, you could go prone to kind of cancel the animations, but I started doing some basic tests on that, and it turns out this didn't actually improve anything. Like, you put the phone away faster, but you were still locked out of performing a bunch of actions until that time until elapsed. In either case, they did patch that with Season 1, so that's kind of irrelevant now. But I did want to double check this. I did this comparison in the beta for Modern Warfare 2, but I'm going to do it again here after launch, just to see if I'm going crazy. Are these animations actually that much slower than previous Call of Duty games, or am I just being way too impatient here? So I compared this to Infinity Ward's most recent Call of Duty game, Modern Warfare 2019, and it turns out I'm not crazy at all. In Modern Warfare 2019, I can call a UAV and a counter UAV in about the same amount of time it takes you to just call one of those streaks in Modern Warfare 2. These animations are now taking about twice as long in Modern Warfare 2. And like I said, it's especially frustrating when you have to call in both a UAV and a counter UAV. And I know many of you will think this is a nitpicky complaint, but to me, this just seems like a very unnecessary slowdown when you look at the pacing of a 66 Call of Duty game.